This is a Blue Ribbon BR400 plastic mulch layer. It makes us a ridge, lays strip line, and lays the plastic mulch. We'll try to explain some of the features for it that it has. When you receive this machine, there's a few adjustments you need to do. If it's shipped to you by common carrier, these pieces here are going to be laying underneath the machine on top of the pallet, so those have to be put back on again to start with. If you pick it up at the facility there where we sell them at, or somebody else brings it in on a trailer to you, it'll be looking most likely what you see the thing sitting right. When this machine shipped common carrier, this is how it'll look. These pieces that are missing here will be underneath the pallet. So we're going to put them back on again to show you a little how they're put back on again. This piece here might be with the wheel or it might not be. It depends how we get them ready. But this just basically slides from the outside in into that hole. Providing you are using 4-foot plastic. If you're using 3-foot plastic, this piece goes on the other side and starts from the inside out. But since we're using 4-foot, we're going to set it up for 4-foot. Your cotter pin goes back in the hole. Hold that piece on. Our little tightener wheel here that tightens the poly up as it's being laid goes in this hole here. And I'll somewhat adjust it here. As you can see, as you turn it, you can make that wheel do any silly dumb number. And we're most likely going to need it somewhere in that area there. All machines come with a wrench.
And the wrench is located where?
And the wrench should be located on the opposite side of your grip spool here, right in a nice little neat holder here. We have people that's worried about that coming out. I have yet to see that thing bounce out. And these machines have been rented out and went through some pretty rough use already. All adjusting knobs, you can use the wrench on it once you get it down to it. So we're just going to tighten that one up for there right now. They just need to be nice and snug. Don't turn them too hard or you will twist them off. And then you need replacement parts.
Which we sell.
Getting our cover disc assembly back on here again. Oh, I'm going to get in the way of the camera here maybe. Maybe I'll come around this side here. These just slide in between here, and they fit snug, let me tell you. And there's a hairpin goes in to hold it in. And we got the bottom one here yet. Let's see here. Oh, this wheel here's holding. Oh, I got my wheel in the way here. This whole assembly needs to slide outward. That's what's wrong here. And it's just to do that. So we're just going to do that. Now I bet we can line our holes up.
And explain which hole you're putting it in.
We always go in the center hole to start with. Now, get this in here. Why does that thing not want to go in?
You want me to jiggle it while you...
Yeah. Okay, we got him in. Put the hairpin back in if I can find my hole there. And we're going to move this guy out to where we think we're going to need him. And we'll adjust him a little later. Lock him with position. The reason for the 3 holes in the top and the bottom is, let me turn this wheel around a little bit here so it makes a little more sense. This is actually your cover disc. If you get in soil that's hard to where your ripper tooth isn't tearing enough up, you'll make this disc dig in a little more. If you move this pin to the back hole and bottom of the front hole, it angles that disc towards the front to where it digs more into it. If you have a lot of loose soil, you really don't need to do that. So that's basically that end, how you set that end up. Some of the features on the front that come standard with this machine is your 2 center filler discs up here. And when we get in the field, we'll adjust them. That's to help to fill your center up. So we might have to do some adjusting here. The 3-point hookup is quite simple. You got 3 points of hookup. Got your lower linkage that you hook up first, and there's linch pins that go on it on your upper linkage. That's basically all that's to attach the machine to the tractor. Before we go to the field, we're going to turn the chisels around here to where they'll work for like they're supposed to be. They're in the transportation position right now. If we have them turned around and down, you go to transport the machine, make sure you tie it down good, because them chisels work like a spring and they will walk off of a trailer. Trust me. There we go. Then we're going to tighten him back up again. Okay, there that side's on. Okay. The adjustments on this machine are quite... Let's start out with the upper linkage. We need to adjust this upper link to where the machine runs pretty level. If we have it running too far to the front, downward, it will liberally bury itself and fill it up with soil here, which can be a plus. It usually doesn't make the best bed that way because it's not doing what it should be. So we want to run it level. If we run it too far in the back, it don't bring in enough of soil. So in this case here, looking at it, I see we need to shorten the top link just a little bit. Let me get on the other side here. When we get in the field, I might have to change this again. We're just going to go that way. On cover discs, you can move these back and forth. They can be moved back and forth. Go ahead and tighten this. This one here is, turn this one loose. Notice I'm hanging on. You can turn that disc whichever way you want it. Usually when we go to use the center disc, we'll move them over this way and turn that critter about that angle there. Both of them. To where they'll throw soil up into the center. We may have to move that thing up and down when we get in the field. The other adjustments we have on here is your width of the poly here. You can move this one in, since we're using 4-foot poly today, we're going to leave this one as ass. Maybe have move this one out a little bit when we get the roll in there. Your drip tube is adjustable to where it lays above the soil or below the soil, depending how far up and down you have here. Do this. I think right now, the way it looks from looking from this end, it might bury it a little bit, but mainly on the top. Depends what for crops you grow and which way you want it. One warning here, if you're growing sweet potatoes, put your drip tape on top of the soil. Do not bury it. If you go to dig them and you bury them, you're going to learn the crust because your sweet potatoes will grow around it. Guarantee you that from experience. There is also a double drip attachment available. Where this other set of holes here, this moves over and there'll be another reel just like this on the other side. And there'll be 2 of these guys on here. That's an option that is available for somebody that wants to run 2 drip tapes at a time. So that is available. This one's got the single drip, which is the most popular one as of now. But the other one is available. The adjustments on your width here, as you noticed earlier, and I tightened this up and less the wrench in, you can unscrew this and move this thing back and forth according to the plastic width and how the machine works and the soil type. 3-foot poly. If you use the 3-foot poly, this naturally gets lined in. The machine does need to be changed over the 3-foot. It's set up for 4-foot. 3-foot, you loosen these 2 bolts, and there's 2 underneath here that get completely taken out. Now you have to raise the machine to do this, and then you slide the whole thing over to the inside set of holes and put everything back together. You do this on both sides. As I mentioned earlier, when you use the 3-foot poly, this assembly here gets put over here with the linchpin, with the hairpin on the outside. That one there gets put this way with the hairpin on the outside, and you got to change your wheels on the opposite side. That's for 3-foot poly. Adjustments back here. Earlier you noticed I was showing you how this wheel can adjust. The reason for them wheels is to pull your poly tight, but you don't want to pull it so tight it pulls in two. If you're using biodegradable mulch that's less than 1 mil, you most likely run them tires about straight. That is a challenge to lay biodegradable mulch with, I don't care whose layer you use. We have the cover disc in the back here that actually basically covers the plastic on the edge, and it's adjustable, turnable this way by turning this knob loose. This extra set of wheels is called a rolling dirt shield. It rolls on top of the poly. As this wheel throws, this disc throws the soil up here, it hits this wheel and drops where you want it. Without these here, if you've got a little too much speed, you will throw soil right over top of the poly all the way across, defeating your purpose. You wanted the outer edge. So,
Why the 4 holes?
the 4 holes, that's a good question. I'm going to have to ask my manufacturer's son about that, why he puts the 4 holes in.
Yeah.
But that's just the way he builds them for some reason. He's got a reason behind it, but I haven't asked him what it is. So, other than that, that's all I can think of right offhand. We're about ready to put the poly on. You want the white up or the black up?
I'd say let's do the white up.
White up, okay. So,
Which way does it go on?
let's just set her on just the way you got her there, just like that. See if I got her. If I need to slide, well, I know it fits perfect.
Got about an inch on this.
Okay, that's good enough. Pull this tape off of here. Get this thing rolled around the bottom here, because it's going to feed out of the bottom here. Get behind here.
Just yellow on the back.
Okay. What happened to her? There's a tension nut on the side here that I failed to think about.
Alright.
We're going to loosen this up a little bit here. This tension nut puts the tension on your roller, how tight you stretch your poly. We're just going to loosen that critter up for right now. So this thing will roll a little easier. Now we need to go out from the bottom there.
Hang on.
Yeah, watch your fingers there.
You want to try and pull it between, right?
Yeah. You found it?
Yeah.
Okay. And you pull it out. Pull this out. It goes underneath this roller here. And keep it from sticking to me. It's a little damp there. And pulls out just like that there. Now for the time being, we're going to leave that until we get in the field. You got your roller drip line? Let's put it on. Get my wrench here. You want it to unroll off the top.
Turn it over, in other words.
There you go. But, oops. this end on here. That just slides on the shaft there. In my hole there. All the way in. Like I said, you want to make sure the drip line rolls off the top. There's a reason for that. This slides in snug and tight. Put him in there. Tighten him up. There we are.
Can I ask you a question about the drip tape?
Yes.
It's going to go down and come out like
Just
that,
like-
right?
yes,
okay.
correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because the manufacturer recommendation is that the blue be up.
Yeah.
But if it's underground, does it make any difference?
No.
Okay. You might want to cut that thing off on there.
No, I guess it is a lock on there. I think it'll go through the drip tube anyway, but that's besides the point. This tube goes next through our brake rod here. The drip tape goes through the brake rod, right through that hole. This is the end of the row. When you get in the row, this reel rolling would continue the roll. This machine I see here is a little tight. We may have to do a little adjustment, but usually they roll in the end of the row and you end up with a lot of drip tape loose. So we'll see how good this thing's adjusted here. The tape then goes down through the drip tube and you just push it in there. Like I said, this drip tube, you can adjust it back and forth where we want it. So this one here, we're going to have to do a little adjustment on it, and I failed to bring an Allen wrench along to loosen this collar up to give it a little more play here. So
You got Allen wrenches, Carl?
that one there. We're going to loosen this and lock collar up. Oh, I see my son's been at it. He likes to see how much Daddy can do. Okay, see if we can get that guy work loose there.
How much movement should it have?
It should have enough to where when it starts laying, it picks it up. See if we can get a little bit more here. There, that ought to give us plenty. Now we're going to lock him back down again. See if I can get it as tight as my son did.
No.
Test this other center wheel till we got, center filler disc here. So we'll have both of them turned. If the soil's still loose enough, which looks like it is, we might not need them, but we're going to demonstrate how they work anyway. Somewhere in that height there is where we're going to start out, in that angle. We may change that, and we may drop them completely out. Doing fine little adjustments here. I'm going to adjust this cover disc back here to about somewhere in that angle. Tighten him back up again. And that wheel there don't suit me. We'll pull him in a little bit here. Just let me pull this back so we can see where the edge is.
Well, show me what you're lining up with.
I'm lining up with, there's a strip that comes down here, that's the edge of your bed. And your plastic's going to be, this wheel wants to be a little, you want to have the wheel a little bit in this side of that, so. Get that thing just about, we're going to set him somewhere in that area there. For right now, we'll adjust him a little later on yet. Tighten him up. And the rest of it suits me for right now. Except maybe this one over here. Let's pull this whole assembly outward. Okay. With that, I'm going to put my wrench back.
This is still loose on this side.
That's just all right. Just leave it loose there. Now, we should have grabbed your drip line before we set her down, but I bet we can find it underneath there. Let's pull that poly up and go fishing underneath here. Okay. He's further up than I thought he was. There he is. One thing about using plastic mulch layers, make sure you have at least 2 foot of drip line sitting out of the back. Where's the shovel at?
I got it.
So first thing you do is pull the drip line out. Just let her lay like that there. Plastic mulch here goes underneath the roller here, like I said earlier. In this particular case, we're going to do a little trimming here because we got a hole there we want to get past from where there was a sticker on there. So I'm going to pull him out back here and we're just going to cut him off here. See if my knife is sharp here. Mom always said a dull knife you can write the Philadelphia without having any marks. And I think this is one of them. So I'll throw that one off the side there. This case we're using white on black mulch with the white turned up. The reason behind this is we're getting the hot part of the summer, so we want the weed control and the moisture control. And the black reflects the heat, the white, excuse me. In the springtime you use the black upward to where it heats your soil when you need it. You pull your plastic out back straight. I'm going to get offside here a little bit. Lift your your wheel up here and just set it underneath. Do this on both sides. Just set her on there. Now, since there's so many of us, we can do one of two things. If you have more than one person helping you, you get one person, just hold the drip line and stand on top of the plastic. And let the guy in the tractor take off. But I'm going to demonstrate to you when you're doing it by yourself. This is how you do it. Take your shovel and just put a berm of soil right across that poly. If you're doing it by yourself, you want 2 shovels. Next thing, take your shovel right on top of the drip line and just, now you're ready to start laying. You have a shovel on the other end of the row that way. Since we only got one shovel, we're going to pull it out and use one of these stakes here. Do the same thing. But that's how you do it when you're by yourself. Now you got a shovel for the other end. So let's get one of those stakes in so we can use his shovel on the other end. Keep watch.
And so hydraulically it's all the way down.
Just let her all the way down. It'll float
Okay.
if it's set the way it should be. We'll find that out here shortly.
Pretty spit.
This one here is not covering the way it should. The wheels, our press wheels, stretch the wheels too far in. It's curling the plastic up here. To avoid that, get away from it, we need to move that outward a little bit. Pick it up and just hold over. Maybe change the angle just a hair here. I'm going to try that there. Okay. And there we are. See you next week. this disc here is, this chisel's pulling out more loose soil for our wheel, for our disc here. It's throwing it up against that other tire there to keep it from going on the poly. Up there. It doesn't hurt any, it's just an aggravation. Since we're at the end of the road now, we're going to have to cut the poly, get you a knife, run it right along the front of the roller. I like to do it on top of the steel here. I know it's hard on knife tips, but just cut your poly loose. Okay, we got the poly loose, or I thought I did. We need to get the drip line underneath here.
Driver that can drive a straight line.
Oh my God, just like that.
But that fills in.
Bad dog. Feel that.
Need to pull the drip line out of here. Here again, remember we need a minimum of 2 feet here because this will stretch over land. That looks like about close enough. It ain't quite 2 foot, but it'll work. Cut him off. Now, if you pull her forward about 2 foot, then you can raise her. Okay. Then we're ready for the next row.
That is sweet.
If you by yourself at this point here, what I used to do, hold the drip line forward and lay a berm of soil across here. But since we have more than one person here, we're just going to leave that the way it is for right now. We'll let Carl pull forward, and then we're going to drop you center fillers out of there, because I don't think we need them in this soil. Pull this guy out. We're going to tie him on the front there. Okay, go ahead. You show the different